Hello and welcome. It's another channel update video as it's been about an hour or so since I did the last one. And I've just took some time to just sit back and think for a little bit, like four minutes maybe. And then I decided to just start writing. And I got almost 2 pages in already, but I wouldn't be surprised if what I write is over 200 pages. So I'm gonna try to get like a hope to try get this done in 2 to 3 months. Would be nice. To start off, I'm going to show you the first 2 pages, albeit barely edited. I've made three edits amongst what I wrote. Starting off with an introduction. This book is designed to explain the best trading strategy that I can come up with for profiting on the markets without knowing any of that advanced technical analysis, because this stuff is hard, and even many of the traders who attempt to use them will end up losing, probably up at losing money. Again, this is unedited, because of the difficulty of winning as a trader. Maybe even expand a little bit on here. Many people come in, start off, there's difficult times, unable to understand money management, and really going in not understanding too much more. So let me just put a little uh, explain a bit more. Emotions can oftentimes become an issue, and although I am not going to try and help in people's emotions, rather, what I will explain is a strategy a computer program can do. And they do not get emotional, it just does what it's told. And my strategy will make it easy for you to know when to trade and how much to trade. Okay, from this point forward, I am going to not read the rest of the way. I will pause it so that you can see it for each frame for about 5 seconds. This is a new frame. And this is the bottom of the first page. And the start of the second page. And this is the end of every bit that I have written. And I'm now going to scroll down to the very bottom. And I'm going to also talk about hardware wallets, switches, how to get them, just the basics and understanding what to do when to set them up, different things that I've become familiar with, like having different accounts in there, how you can have different public keys for the same account, understanding the cost in each one or how the fees work out, your ownership control of it, because talking about, and if you read this, bank accounts and crypto exchanges, I'm talking a lot about it's not yours, but I mean, you have access in what is technically yours. It's just not the cash, it's accounts receivable. And then there's going to be a lot on this about gold and silver as well. And I don't know how many pages this is going to be. There's a lot of different topics that I want to go over. I'm thinking like 285, but I wouldn't be surprised if I can get it done maybe in 120 or 80. I've never ever written anything that large before. But if I succeed in writing what I want to do, and a lot of the pages will also be because of pictures and also just examples of how you are going to document different things, ledgers, stuff like that. But I'm not going to put a picture of what gold and silver coins look like. I don't think that needs to be done. But if I'm doing stuff like, oh, I want to show a bit about this 18 average, I mean, I kind of have to. And if I'm kind of wanting to show how one would write down how they buy and sell different things, how you do it in a spreadsheet, how the spreadsheet would look, that's a good picture to have. How you'd write it in a notebook that you would buy at like an office supply store, That would be a good idea as well too. And the plan for me, again, if I succeed on this, is put it out for what I consider to be a discountedly good, really cheap price, but it's not going to be overall low. I would be thinking selling it for 100 on the open, which means you'd be looking to pay on the internet probably via cryptocurrencies, and then looking to put this into a hardcover and putting that one near 200. And 200 may sound like a lot, but when I consider how valuable I feel that this information is, then I don't think it is. And for me to be worth it for what I'd want to do, unless I know for sure I could sell them in extreme large quantities, it's going to be almost impossible to go under 79 even. And therefore, if I know I'm going to be doing small quantities, then I'd probably look to do like a physical hardcover book, probably for like around 199, an ebook for about 149 that you can get like on an Amazon kind of deal, and then open it as up on here for about 100. And then I just set up my little thing where one of those automated PayPal, not PayPal, but payment things where you put 100 in whatever cryptocurrency it comes in, then in time I'd probably get an email and I would just then send out a copy. But there's a lot of different topics that I want to go over because the whole point of this is writing this for people who have never traded before in their life. So there's going to be a chapter just on getting used to crypto exchanges for the first time. Something that I haven't wrote when I talked about exchanges in there. Things like, okay, you got your account, you get to know, get familiar to how the wallets on every one of them look, hiding zero balances, making sure like how do I search for coins, understanding the deposit and withdrawals section, understanding. Just trying to think of some other things on the early stages, but the early ones would usually be your depositing your Bitcoin or your Litecoin into whichever one it is, and then you can see the deposit button. And then you can show, all the sites will show different things to show pending deposits where you can see them. Understanding that confirmations come into play. Some of them are going to be larger than others. I'm also going to talk about the coins that I like, and a lot of them will be the ones that I talked about on here. And I'll even look at a lot more just for the aspects of coins that I feel are very good for this strategy. So I'm definitely going to be looking at a lot of coins as well, on top of the ones that I are ones that I really hardly ever talk to, like Stellar Lumen, Ripple here, Go. Let's go. Let's take a look to see if I can find it. Is there a is there a ticker symbol called Go on the cryptocurrency Go chain? Okay. It's on Binance, Bittrex, and HIT. We definitely want to take a look at the HIT ones. Okay, well, let's just take a quick look at this one just for something to do. It's been around for a while. I don't think I've ever traded this before. I'm trying to even remember why I've never heard of it. I mean, gee, oh, I mean, it's not like I'm on Binance, I'm on Bittrex. Okay, well, the price movement just had a jump from this 483 bottom up to 700. Satisfactory moves on the way there, meaning this went from 629 down to 533, up from 659, then back down to 558. Again, satisfactory. The volatility isn't too spectacular in what is a not so great volatile market. Its price action did come and did well at this previous high. It pierced above it. It is now stabilizing for a lot longer than it did in here after it came from a much higher point during this bear market. And did I ever trade this back in the day? No, its original move back in October of 18. Well, this was a good move. It really did go 492 to 1245, but then to be able to go back down to 872. And then up to 1336, down to 760, up to 950, and then this whole low volatile. And that's another chapter in itself. When you're playing market conditions that are like this, that are like this. This low was 544, this high was 645. I mean, it could very easily, even if you're not playing even if you're playing for like not so high volatility, maybe you bought in here, but you didn't buy this low, or in here even. So okay, so you bought at 580, now you're not buying until like 520. Heck, even me. If I were to say buy at 600, I'm not buying until at least at 500, which meant that okay, my next order is here, isn't hitting, and that also would mean that I wouldn't be able to sell up here either because that's at least where maybe I might be selling. So you can have a situation where maybe I'm buying just after Christmas and I ain't doing anything until like maybe like start of February. So I go the whole month of January without doing a single trade. There's periods where things get very boring and periods that get very exciting. Of course, when they get boring, there's not much to do other than understand it's boring. You look every day, not much is going on, no need to do anything. And then when things get exciting, well, that's when there's more work involved, and that's a more detailed chapter, of course. But as far as this is concerned, I'm trying to figure out. I think it's starting to come back to me. This is scary because I mean I'm not that old, but my memory's still okay. I think. Okay, well that is the go. Just because I haven't seen it in a while. I haven't owned it in a while. Let's look at. Well, Poloniex or Bittrex has more data. So let's go Bittrex. I mean, moves like this. This is another chapter in itself, or moves like this. And that's where I need to have a photo. I could show a photo like this. Of course, in this case here, you see volatility. It got done what was an artificial play. So if you were waiting to buy, say right where that line is, say 7,500, we'll say 7,505. And maybe your last trade was 9,000. You wanted that's your volatility. Well, now technically, you could go in there and you could just be like, 8,300. Okay, well, why don't I just sell that, and it might go later. And then if you don't, well, it worked out better because then it went higher. But either way, you got your trade, you got your win, and it might have meant just as buying here, selling something up there, not doing anything else again until now because of the not so great volatility. And there are coins that are more volatile than others. I mean, Litecoin and Bitcoin itself deserve that talk together in the sense that Litecoin doesn't have those wild moves. And you're going to see it oftentimes with this. But they will have it when it's ready. As we can see, this in here was a relative wild move. When you go from 4,000 up to 11,000. And another topic will be comparing the price or looking at the price of Bitcoin rather than that of the US dollar. Although there's nothing wrong, and oftentimes it can be good to look at both. But the main answer to that, of why just looking at the Bitcoin one is the more important one, is because that's what you're trading it against, is that of Bitcoin. And only price pays. Oh, I'll be writing those words in there as well. Because the market doesn't care about your opinion. It doesn't care about your strategy. It doesn't care what you think. It doesn't care if you lose a whole shitload of money. And it doesn't care if you become screaming rich. The market is only going to behave as it has been designed to do. And only price pays. If price comes in to pay to the point where you are profiting at large numbers, then the mathematics are always going to play itself out. This is where I need to have it set so that I can literally say this and not type because I hate typing. And those are just good words that I'm going to be writing within that kind of book. I mean, I just got to write everything that I can think of over and over like that. And then just put it in segments. I mean, it's just talking about the basics of money, the basics of trading, getting used to exchanges, how, like, the whole general thing of, well, buy low, sell high. It's as basic as it sounds. Obviously, if you buy something at 100 and sell it for 130, you're going to profit. And and then you just and then after that you'd slowly get into that type of system explaining how you need two coins to cross together just to work. And again, whether you're doing the basic trades, because the first one I'm going to be talking about is trading against Bitcoin. I've been talking lately about two altcoins together. That's going to be talked about after you talk about trading things with a normal base currency like the dollar or against Bitcoin. Because again, when I talk about dollar versus Bitcoin charts, what's your preference? If your preference trade is Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ripple and all that against the dollar, well then that's what's important to you. Those are the charts and price numbers that are actually where the price will pay for you. And the numbers are the numbers. If you sell it at 100 and then you buy it at 60, well then the numbers will work that way. If you bought something at 7,000 satoshi and you sell it at 11,950, the price again will always work out to how the numbers work out. And within this, I mean, what do I use for indicators on here? There's only one that has been voided from here, and I wish I can get it. I'm going to try it. It never works, and I haven't tried it in a long time. Oh, I hope it works now, where I can figure out how to do it. It should be at the volume. Volume, VWAP, 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 VWAP. I think I pushed it already, but what do I do? Yeah, I pushed VWAP. So unsupported resolution, settings. Okay, style, precision, default. What happens if I push? Still says unsupported. Because this is a really good tool, the VWAP. But I just don't know how to use it on here. Line, yeah, that's usually what I'm looking for. Area. Area with breaks, columns. What if I put area in? Colors like whatever, although knowing that I have blue, red, and green, I don't like yellow too much. Pretty much it's in the same area. I mean, VWAP is you take a point from a specific key level. Like, for example, you want the VWAP from this low, a VWAP from this high, a VWAP, especially in stuff where you have significant trading. Now, it would only mean so much because the volume to me would have to be real. And the problem within the volume here is because this is traded on multiple exchanges, then you can it would just not get the results you're looking for. Because the whole point of why the VWAP works out great, first of all, its calculation is it takes the volume weighted average price from a specific period. So generally, what it does is, and I mean these math numbers would get big, but it would take the price per period, multiply it by the volume. And then it would take the sum of all those numbers and then divide it by the sum of all that volume. And that's just a huge bunch of numbers. And then you get what the average is. But then oftentimes what's going to happen is on, say, a key event like a key low from in here, the VWAP would be like something just, I don't know, rising to a point where maybe, I mean, the VWAP may act as support maybe somewhere around here. And oftentimes they do actually reflect to an area where buyers and where the markets can have like a bottoms and tops and key things like that. And well, what that would mean is that it's more reliable of a mathematical number that is really what the average price is since that event for people at that point, which can oftentimes lead to interesting scenarios and where you can get big dumps after the fact because in this spot there's a few losers, there's a few winners, but overall everybody is even from there, and it's just a one way of taking a look at the market. Volume weighted average price maybe from this high, volume weighted average from this low, volume weighted average from this high, all those different things is something. But I don't know how to use it on here, so I'm not gonna talk much about it. And because it's something I don't look at too much, it's unlikely I'll even mention it in the book that I'm writing either. Now let's try to get the VWAP on something with a different price. Maybe the Bitcoin would have it. I'm trying to figure it out, but I mean, what does a precision even mean? Like VWAP, I should be like clicking on this and style, moving average. No, this is weighted moving average. Yeah, I'm looking for like since when, like what period. I should be like asked to like, okay, click on where you want to start or enter the date in which you want it to start at. And even what's another interesting thing is having something like a X period VWAP, which means it takes the volume weighted average price over the last like however many periods you ask, say the last 100 or 50 or another way of doing it. I don't think that that's an option on here, but I'm going to take a look now that I'm seeing because I got so many different sources in here. VWAP. Okay, let's give it a shot then, because I think this just might work now. Alrighty, so let's go to plus indicators again. Okay, I don't. Let's go to just now moving average instead of VWAP now. Okay, so now let's edit it. So settings, period. I want maybe a 50. I've already got the 18, so I wouldn't mind having a more longer term one. Then you're around 70 or so to 100. I think going past 100 is just way too much for me. So let's just work on a 50 period. Again, this is something in time you're just going to have to adjust to what looks to be about right. Source, we got open, high, low, close, high, low, HL2, WMA, net volume, net. I thought I seen VWAP last time. Because I was, okay, volume. Where I thought I seen it. I know I got it saved. WMA. I mean, I got so excited. I thought I see it. Even some of the stuff that I'm looking at, you can't see, like volume, column, like volume weighted average for the volume. I got that option, but I got like that weighted moving average. I don't even know what 808 HLC4 stands for. It's open, high, low, close 4, then high, low, close 3, high, low 2, close, low, and high. And I use the low and the highs as far as where I have my averages. But having a VWAP wouldn't be, that would be pretty cool. Again, it's unfortunate that I just don't know how to use it on here. But like from this key low here, the weighted average price would be, well, obviously well above it. And the average price from this decline in here Well, we would be looking at, well, we'd be pretty much right near it, I would think. We'd be very, I really would like to see what this is. I mean, I know how to calculate it. I'm just thinking about that right now. And again, the volume only means so much because it's spread out on many exchanges, but if you can find one that's relatively stable at what it does, then I think it becomes very efficient. And Bitstamp would be the one that I would, even though I could download this as well too, so it's not like that's I can download either one. What I would do is I would go to bitcoincharts.com. I would download the data from the start of the event, which I would have to think is November the 13th, and then just mathematically calculate each one individually. So each one you do volume multiply price, and that number is only going to be somewhat accurate for the day. I think you do the average price of the high and the low and the close, multiply it by the volume for every day. And then that I think would give you your most accurate reading for where it is. And then it's always a matter of dividing those numbers together to get the price action. So you divide, well, it's price multiply volume. And then you take your answers, or the total amount that you would get divided by the total volume. So your answer divided by volume that it's had. And again, it's obviously going to be going in a downward motion. Probably when it reached this point in here of resistance, it was still, the volume weighted average price was still above it. It wouldn't have surprised me if it's just flat amongst this area. I'm so curious. It might be one of those crypto day morning things. I might show it, I might not. But I'm just thinking right now that how hard is it going to be? It's average price, which is high plus low plus close divided by 3. Multiply the volume. And then the sum of those numbers per day divided by the sum of all volume per day is your moving average. Okay, now I know how to calculate it. Well, I knew that anyway, but that's another chapter in the book too. Is just resources on the internet. How I was able to basically read and just get data, how to understand read data, using a spreadsheet, just different tricks and tips on that. And again, you're going to need a lot of photos to extract things like that. But that's how you make the book 300 pages. And it's not like I'm trying to make it that many pages. I'm just thinking, how many is it going to need to go over pretty much everything that I want to talk about? So yeah, something I'm planning on and have already obviously started doing. I've already shown the first few pages, well, two, of what I've written, and just keep on going from there. So it's like April the 1st in a couple days. That's like maybe 60, 70 days. Maybe I can get like many, many, many different topics covered along the way. And yeah, it'll be fun to do. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.